What is good? What is good? I am back. Yours truly, Paul Pickett Podcast. This is episode 100. And who would have knew that I would have finished it on January 6th when the left is going to go crazy today? All they're going to talk about is the Capitol insurrection and riots. Me, unfortunately, I might talk a little bit about it, but I got more important things to talk about than just year-old news. First of all, before we get started, hit that click now, subscribe button in that right hand corner. Hit that like, hit that follow, hit that share, add that comment. All engagement is welcome. Don't forget my podcast is the audio version goes to Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Deezer, TuneIn, Slacker, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Player FM, Podchaser, Podcast Addict, and much more. The video version goes to YouTube, Facebook, Instagram TV, Rumbler, and I take the pre-recorded version and I'll stream it live on Twitter as well as Twitch. Before I get started on any topics, let me pull up last night's NBA scores. Let me get some of this agua in my system. Went from 70 degrees to 30 degrees overnight, just like typical North Carolina weather that we have. Gotta love it, or not. Charlotte Hornets waxed the Detroit Pistons. My Charlotte Hornets, who actually have one, two, three, four. We got 5 players averaging over 15 points a game. We should be doing a lot better second half of the season. We might need to try to make a move. Orlando lost to Philadelphia 76ers. Who would have knew? Houston beat the Washington Wizards, who are actually coming back down to earth. San Antonio Spurs beat Boston, and Spurs have been balling out of late. Boston probably won't even make the playoffs this year. Brooklyn Nets beat the Pacers, which they should have. Pacers are just plummeting this year. And Dallas beat Golden State, and Milwaukee lost to Toronto. Pull up this Minnesota score. I can't really see it here in this corner. Minnesota won that game. Of course, Minnesota had let's see. They got all their players back. I mean, Minnesota papers got a good start. 5: Pat Beverly, D'Angelo Russell, Karl Anthony Towns, and Anthony Edwards. Real good. All right. Utah beat Denver, Miami beat Portland, and Atlanta beat Sacramento. Portland is just plummeting. Dame Lillard is not going to stay in Portland. Now they keep losing like this. And Atlanta, they need to start getting things together. They should beat the Kings, but they need to start getting things together. All right. Not going to get into Paul's Power Picks. We'll talk about a few sports topics, political topics, even I'm going to get into a topic that is music related. Let's start with this one. Aaron Rodgers calls reporter a bum and says votes should be removed. I said the same. Aaron Rodgers pretty much, I didn't call the reporter a bum. I called him a jerk because, his stance, he's a jerk for taking his stance. I didn't know that he basically said that he wasn't going to vote for Aaron Rodgers before the season even started just because he's a jerk. Well, that's kind of a jerk. You're kind of a jerk to take that stance. That you're just going to diminish anything this guy does on the field. His team has literally been 13 wins the last 3 seasons. 3 seasons straight, he got 13 wins. They've been into the NFC Championship at least 2 or 3 years straight. He's probably going to win back-to-back MVPs. Aaron Rodgers pretty much said what I said, that this guy needs to have his vote removed. You can't take a stance that you're not going to vote on somebody before the season even starts just because. No, that is bad. That does a bad disservice to NBA voters and the the NFL voters and the NFL MVP vote. It really does a bad disservice to it. He should have his vote taken away. He should not get a vote. You can't never take this biased stance in sports. That's why they give people MVP votes, hoping they're not going to take a biased stance that you're automatically going to say you're not going to vote somebody before the season starts. No, that's not how it works. If this guy comes out and dominates, then he dominates. If he's the best player in the league and the most valuable, then you got to vote. I mean, Barry Bonds was awful to the media. This guy won 7 MVPs. 7 MVPs, and he was terrible to the media. The media never in baseball said, well, you know what? I'm not going to vote for this guy because he's a jerk. You're not voting for the most valuable non-jerk or the most valuable nice guy or most valuable non-asshole. You're voting for the most valuable player. And I guarantee you take Aaron Rodgers off the Green Bay Packers, they're not 13-3. They're 3-13. He's literally won games without his whole starting offensive line. He hasn't had he's got they got good offensive players, but they've literally have never drafted a first round wide receiver for Aaron Rodgers. My whole lifetime, they've never drafted a first round. That goes to show you how valuable he is. That they refuse to draft a first round wide receiver because they know that this guy makes everybody better. This guy has only 4 interceptions in a year. Why is that? Because he's super smart. He just doesn't take unnecessary risks, unnecessary chances. So, yeah, man, Aaron Rodgers is right. Reporter's a bum. What's his name, too? His name's Hub Arkish. He should definitely lose his vote because you can't take that kind of biased stance, and you literally can't come out publicly say that you're not going to vote for somebody before the season even starts. That's even worse than him saying he's not going to vote for Aaron Rodgers because he's a jerk. He literally said, I'm not going to vote for him before the season even starts. You're just taking away any kind of credibility you have as a voter because you're not putting an honest vote to it. You're just going off of emotions. To me, that's all it is. Hub Arkish is too emotional to have a vote. He's just going off emotions. You don't bring emotions and biasness and politics into the MVP vote. I mean, Cam Newton is pretty arrogant guy. He got the MVP vote when he dominated. I mean, that anybody could have said, I'm not voting for him. He's too arrogant. I mean, when you take a stance like that, I can use any kind of, quality. I'm not voting for him. His face looks too funny. He's too short. I'm not voting for him. He's too nice. Yeah, stop it, man. So, yeah, take the guy's vote away from him. Dirk Nowitzki's jersey retired. Dirk Nowitzki is probably the greatest Dallas Maverick ever. He changed the power forward position as we know it. Because Dirk Nowitzki wasn't your typical protocol power forward. Yes, he could post you up, do a lot of turnarounds. But Dirk Nowitzki, I mean, he shot a lot of jumpers, a lot of threes. He wasn't the typical just post up, turn around, jump hooks. Stuff. I don't even know if I've ever seen Dirk Nowitzki do a jump hook. But he definitely changed the game of basketball for that position. He's the original, I guess you say, prototypical stretch 4. Great player, man. Great player. Be honest with you, he shouldn't have a championship. The Miami Heat definitely should have won that year that they lost to him. But he did get a championship. He did carry his team to 2. Whether he had a championship or not, he did take his team to 2 NBA finals. That alone should get your jersey retired from any team when you take them to two NBA finals. So yeah, big ups to Dirk Nowitzki, jersey retired, definitely deserves it. All right, let me get this. What is it? 4.5 million quit their jobs in November, and that's a lot of people, man. Now, from what I've heard, a lot of these people quit their jobs because they thought they could find better jobs, or they think they could find better jobs. It doesn't always work that in the work world. Like, why do people automatically think they're just worth a certain amount of money in the workplace when a lot of them don't work hard, have no intentions of working hard. They don't take their job serious. Um, they're not committed to their jobs. You know, that's the thing. A lot of people, I know they'd be like, "Well, the job's just a job." But as a business owner, I don't want to hire nobody who doesn't take the job serious, is not committed to my business the way I'm committed to my business. If you're just gonna say, "Hey, screw my business," why would I hire you? You know, that's the thing, man. Y'all, Americans take jobs for granted more than any country in the world. Americans will sit there and complain about, oh, legal immigrants are coming in and taking our jobs. Okay, yeah, legal immigrants shouldn't be coming in illegally, but I don't really get upset when they taking jobs for the simple fact that they're taking the jobs that Americans always say they're too good to work. And if you say you're too good to work the job, then I don't want to hear about legal immigrants taking jobs. It doesn't, that's not how it works in the real world. That's some fairy tale made up bullshit. You know, that's what hypocrites do, double standards. You don't take, if you take jobs for granted, you don't take these jobs serious. And these illegal immigrants, man, whether they're legal or legal, one thing I will say about Hispanics is they work hard as fuck. They work hard as shit. And one thing I respect in society more than anything is the hardworking man. I respect the hardworking man more than anything, damn near. Unless he's the dishonest hardworking man. But the honest hardworking man, I respect more than anybody on this earth. So anybody think I should respect them as much as the honest hardworking man, go to hell. Kick rocks. You're dumber than a bag of bricks. That's not how it works. Because hard work is something that is a very valuable trait. It's a really great trait to have. You know, I work 7 days a week for 10 months straight. All y'all people out here working 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, y'all ain't working hard. I don't even know what hard work is. And if you're not working towards being financially successful or self employed, I got a question if you worked hard in your entire life. You know, I mean, if you work construction, laying bricks, pavement, yeah, you work some hard jobs. You know what I'm saying? But that's the thing, man. This 4.5 million people quitting their job is just, where do these people think they're going to find these jobs to replace? They're not going to find these jobs to replace because they're not all going to get hired. Because if you're just going to quit a job just because without having that's another thing. If you quit a job when you don't have another job already lined up, you're dumping in a bag of bricks. Why would I hire anybody who just quits a job and doesn't have another job lined up? You don't take working serious in the first place because that's not how it goes in the work world when you quit a job. You're supposed to quit a job and already have another job lined up, and typically a better paying job or a job that gives you more hours or more benefits. But when you just quit a job, why would I even remotely think that you're going to work hard at the next job when you just quit it out the blue? And that's basically what happened. These 4.5 million people didn't quit and have new jobs lined up. A lot of them probably quit because of over um over giving out too many benefits, overextending benefits. A lot of people start to think like that everybody in society should be getting paid more money. They're all underpaid. Stop it, man. Like, most of these people in society are not even trying to be self-employed. If you're not trying to be self-employed in life, I don't know that you take anything in life serious. I don't know that you take anything in life serious if you haven't even attempted to be self-employed or attempted some form of financial success. And just quitting a job and thinking you should get a better paying one just cause is not a good formula to financial success. And if these 4.5 million people go homeless and start starving, I wouldn't feel sorry for none of these fools because they're fools. Once again, you don't quit a job unless you have another job lined up. Unless you're like my friend Stranger the Great, Kareem Stevens, he works these contract jobs at 4, 5, 6 months at a time, and then he's off for 2 or 3 months straight because he works 12 hours a day, 5 hours a week, which is 4 more hours a day than all y'all so-called hardworking people are working. He makes so much money in that short period of time, he could just come back and just pay his bills and not work for a few months. But yeah, this ain't gonna bode well. 4.5 million people quit their jobs in November, right before December at that. I don't know why they honestly think they're just gonna get new jobs and better jobs right away. And if they don't get no, if they go homeless and they start starving, it's because of their own stupid mistakes and decisions. That's what people don't understand. Being smart in life has nothing to do with having a college degree. Being smart in life has everything to do with the decisions you make. You could have a college degree and make all the dumbest decisions in the world. Are you smart? Hell no. You're dumber than a bag of bricks with a 4.0 college degree. I mean, there's plenty of people that got college degrees that haven't done nothing with them. Don't even work a job in the field they got degrees for, or they're not even they go to college for all these years and don't even become successful. It's overrated. Being smart has everything to do with common sense, making smart decisions, and that's it. Let me see. I'm not gonna stay on this one long, but Biden says schools should stay open. You know what I'm talking about this? Because this is the only thing that's ever come out of Biden's mouth that I agree with. He's finally saying something that makes sense. But what's funny about this is these Democratic states, they're not staying open. They're going back to remote learning. So there's a civil war within the Democratic Party right now. You got the far left and you just got the left. And yes, I totally agree with Biden on it. Schools should stay open. Like, we've been in COVID for like 2 to 3. We're going on year 4, man, and literally they've been remote learning like crazy, man. Like, we're dumbing down America right now. We're becoming the dumbest country on the planet right now by doing remote learning. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, remote learning is not a good thing. Because first of all, if there's not an adult in the household while they're remote learning, kids ain't about to pay attention to remote learning. If kids most of the kids, if they're gonna be at home doing remote learning, they're gonna be occupying themselves with other things. They're gonna be trying to occupy. Kids are gonna be more concerned with playing video games at home than doing remote learning. Because I can tell you right now, most kids aren't really don't want to go to school anyways. They don't really want to get an education. That's why they got to be pushed. That's why you need somebody looking over their shoulders. So, and this idea that all these parents could just take off during remote learning, no, they can't. And then kids at home all the time and not going to school with no adult figures looking over them or watching over them, that's a recipe for disaster. That's a recipe for a lot of kids getting in trouble and doing things like what happened with the little girl, the 16-year-old that got shot over here in the corner of my apartment right here. They literally left. They were at the football game. A bunch of girls at a football game. Instead of fighting in the football game, they leave the football game, meet down here at the park at my corner. Why anybody would go to this park to fight, I don't know. It's probably never been done in the history of the park being open. And 16-year-old gets shot. They say it was a male that shot her. I really find it hard to believe that out of all these females that are going to meet up with these other females to fight, that there happens to be one male and he just shoots at some females in a car. I don't believe that one bit. I believe if anybody did the shooting, it was another female. And this idea that females can't be gangsters and thugs, stop it. In Lumberton, North Carolina, females carry knives more than the dudes. They'll cut you faster than the guys. So stop it, you know. Yeah, that's a recipe for disaster of kids not being in school because they're not really gonna be serious about getting their education because they don't have nobody pushing them when they're at home by themselves, and they're gonna get in trouble more because as soon as they're done, they're just gonna be running the streets. You know. There's no after school programs for them or nothing when they're doing remote learning. Yeah, so yeah, there's a civil war in the Dems. This is the only thing I've ever agreed with Biden to come out of his mouth, that schools should stay open, because half the shit he says, he's backtracking on. He said a complete opposite of stuff like 10 years or 20, 30 years before. That's even like the Afghanistan. I saw a video where he clearly knew that it would take a while, it would take well over a year to pull out of Afghanistan, and that we needed to pull out and not leave all the weapons behind. And he clearly knew that the way they pulled out of Afghanistan would not work, because he clearly knew it 20 years ago when he was on camera, clearly stating every little detail about how we need to pull out, and we can't rush it. It can't be a rush process. But what does he do? That's why I do wonder, does he have a diminished capacity? Does he even remember the things he said yesterday? I mean, because when somebody called him out, let's go Brandon, he's like, yeah, I agree, let's go Brandon. Now, you know, if Let's Go Paul, which I'm about to get the Let's Go Paul t-shirts made up. I seen something the other day, and I see it on Valuetainment. They had the Let's Go Adam t-shirt. So I'm going to get the Let's Go Paul t-shirts made up, you know, for all the Paul Pickett podcast haters or fans, whatever. But I would never, you know, if I knew, like, Let's Go Paul really meant, like, fuck Paul Pickett, I would never be like, yeah, I agree. Let's go Paul. Freaking Biden. I mean, like, really? You're going to agree with somebody that's saying, fuck you? So I wonder, is he really got diminished capacity? Can he remember? Does he even know? If he doesn't even know what Let's Go Biden means at this point, he can't be president. He's diminished capacity. But that's the only thing I do agree with Biden on. Now, I see this other thing. It's really funny to me that all the Democrats, I mean, all of them, every last one of them, 100% of Democrats were like, we're not taking a vaccination if Trump has anything to do with it. Well, y'all are the ones sitting there trying to force people to take the vaccination. And guess what? It's the same vaccination that Trump had something to do with. That is the problem with the Democratic Party. They have clearly showed their hand, put all their cards on the table. We are the biggest double standard hypocrites on the planet. They've shown their hands. I mean, it's double standard after hypocrisy after hypocrisy. They were the main ones like, we'll never take the virus because Trump has something to do with it. Well, guess what, you jackasses, you morons, you freaking idiots. It's the same vaccinations that Trump was pushing. Are you kidding me? Can you be that fucking dumb? Can you be that freaking stupid? It's the same motherfucking vaccinations that Trump was pushing. Oh yeah, and Trump's got a booster shot, by the way. I would never vote Democrats as long as it stays this way. And the Democrats might never ever, if the Democrats stay this way, they stay this way. This double standard Dems, hypocrisy after hypocrisy after hypocrisy after hypocrisy after hypocrisy, every minute of every single day, they might not never take back control. They might not never take back control. And yes, there are some hypocrisies on the Republican side. I called one out the other day, like the one about transgenders dominating sports. Yeah, Republicans are a little hypocritical on that because it's women to blame for that. It's women to blame more than anything. Women are the ones that supported that. So yes, Republicans do have some hypocritical stances, but not every single minute of every single day like the Democrats. Stop it. Y'all flip-flop more than anybody. When Trump was president, y'all were like, hell no, no vax. And now y'all trying to force the shit on us like communists. If you don't take the vax, you're the enemy. You're a terrorist. Well, you're a fucking hypocrite, and you live off double standards, and I could give a rat's ass what a hypocrite has to say about me. A hypocrite has no credibility. A person who lives off double standards has no credibility whatsoever. Stop it. All right. I'm gonna talk. I got two more topics. Here's another one. Another hypocritical stance. There's like 1,000 cars crashed on I-95. I know y'all seen it. Y'all seen the video footage. Crashed on I-95 for over 24 hours. Who does the left blame? Well, they blame Glenn Youngkin. Well, this is also how dumb, stupid, moronic, idiotic, dumber than a bag of bricks, dropped in their head these Democrats are, these far left radicals. Glenn Youngkin is not even the governor yet. He's not even sworn in. He's not even started his first day at work yet. So you want a guy who, so it's like I hire somebody for a manager, right? I like, say I own a restaurant. I hire somebody for a manager. And then I tell them, all right, you start in a week. But 3 days later, I'm complaining about, why are you not doing your job as a manager? It's because they haven't even started yet. They're not even officially hot. They're not even officially on the job. This is how hypocritical, double standards they are. If anybody the left should be blaming, it's the governor that's still the governor that's still the governor of Virginia right now. Where the hell is he? So y'all want to blame a guy. It's like y'all want to blame somebody. It's like I hire an employee. He hasn't officially clocked into the job yet. But I'm going to be like, why the hell haven't you wiped down, swept, and mopped yet? He hasn't even clocked in for his very first hour on the job. And I'm like, why the hell haven't you cleaned your kitchen yet? That's what's going on here, man. Like, can you be this stupid and this dumb? And I see people posting tweets about it, and I was trying to react to it. Then you go back, they deleted them because they realized when people started calling them out that they're dumber than a bag of bricks. They must have been dropped in their head like a million times as a kid. I mean, you're literally blaming the guy who hasn't even started the job yet. He gets hired last week. You tell him he starts next week, but you want to blame him this week for not doing his job when he doesn't start till next week. Democrats are just making themselves look worse and worse and worse by the minute. I mean, if y'all would have shut up, if y'all would have came out and blamed Glenn Youngkin, we would have had the right would have had nothing to talk about with this thing except, oh, this is fucked up. It's a messed up situation. I mean, who do you blame really? I mean, who do you really blame? Weather has a mind of its own. Yeah, they probably should have iced the roads. I don't know. They always ice the highways like this, like I-95. I have no clue. But the fact that that Democrats and far lefts are blaming Glenn Youngkin when he hasn't even been sworn in yet just goes to show you the pea size of the brains they have. I mean, pea size of a brain. You can't be no. It doesn't get dumber than this. You can't get no stupider. To blame somebody, to blame an employee for not sweeping and mopping yet, when he hasn't officially clocked in for his first day on the job. He doesn't start till next week, but you're blaming him this week for not doing his job. Does anybody understand how moronic and stupid that sounds? All right, let me get to my last topic, some music-related topics. Get an interview with Little Flip on Vlad. And they asked him a question about, does he feel like he was the first artist that dealt with cancel culture? And because of something, I guess a TI beef or something. And he had a great response. And I've always said, this idea that your non-fans can cancel you, where do y'all come up with these fairy tales, these make-believe imaginary things? If you're not my fan, you can't cancel me. Only fans can cancel you. Like if I got 100,000 fans, that come in and tune into my podcast every day, unless they start deciding not to follow me and tune in more, I can't be canceled. I don't have 100,000, but this idea that your non-fans can cancel you. And he made a great point. He's like, no, I didn't get canceled. I was still doing shows. He made a great point of when he would go to cities, he wouldn't beat local artists over the head for features that want features while he's in that city doing a show. Like if he goes and does a show in that city, he wouldn't beat local artists over the head. he might cut the price in half because he's actually there within the city. And he said he also, anytime he had meet and greets, he no matter how long people were waiting on him, he would wait with them. He would shake every hand, take pictures with everybody. That's what being a celebrity and a successful person with fan base is about. When you get a certain amount of fan base, and they're a loyal fan base, the only people that you're loyal to in the business world is your fan base. And once you start becoming disloyal to your own fan base, then yes, you deserve to be canceled. Like people like Jeezy, if you touch him, he'll get mad and spaz out. But that's not what Lil Flip's gonna do. If I walk up, touch Lil Flip on the shoulder, be like, yo, Flip, what's good? Big fan. He's not gonna spaz out. And you know what I'm saying, and try to freak out on you and whatnot, because he understands how fan base works. And he understands that as long as you have a loyal fan base and your fan base is loyal to you and you're loyal to your fan base, you can't be canceled. People can talk about canceling people all the time. You can't be canceled when you have a certain amount of fans and they're buying into your product or your service or whatever you're offering. And when you're a people person with your fans, and that's the thing, Lil Flip doesn't have to be a people person with his non-fans. He just has to be a people person with his fans. You got to treat your fans. I've always said you got to treat your fans like friends. You treat your fans like friends, you'll have a long career. You constantly put out good music for your fans, and you're a people person with your fans. Like, you don't get this ego, little cocky attitude like you're above your fans. I hate when people act like they're above their fans. When your fans are spending all this money and time for you to live this lavish lifestyles. These musicians, these celebrities that live these lavish lifestyles because of the fans buying merchandise, buying albums, buying whatever it may be, and they treat them like crap, don't deserve to have their fans in the first place. Like, because fans keep these people in these lavish lifestyles, and then they act like they so above their fans. They got this ego and so cocky, and that's why I never treated celebrities like they were any different than me. When I look at a celebrity, to me, a celebrity is just a person who's famous and has more money than me. They're just a regular person who's famous but has more money than me. I don't think they're above me or anything. I don't treat them like gods and legends, and I don't treat them like groupies treat them. I don't bow to their feet. Oh hell, I'm just like, hey, what's good? Much love and respect. Hey, how you doing? I talk to them like normal people. When I first met KRS-One, yo, Chris, what's good? I called him out by his first name, like I knew the guy from day one. Yo, Chris, what's good? Much love and respect. Drove 2 hours to watch this show. He daps me down, I dap him down, and then a second later, it's whoop, whoop, that's the sound of the police. Whoop, whoop, that's the sound of the police. I don't treat these people like they're gods, because they're not. They're just famous people with more money than me. That's all they are. So Little Flip, yeah, this idea that you can cancel, like Little Flip said, you can't cancel me. I'm the best selling rapper out of Texas. The number one selling rapper out of any state. It's gonna be a hard guy to cancel, because it's gonna be hard to cancel him in his own state. If I'm the number one selling artist out of North Carolina, you best believe North Carolina is showing a lot of support. A lot of support. And there's probably a lot of haters too. Like Fayetteville is like 50-50 on J. Cole. I think Fayetteville loves Beret more than they love J. Cole. But all of that will be determined on how much Beret gets back. But yeah, so Lil Flip, he's right, man. You can't cancel nobody that has a specific fan base, and that's a people person with their fans. And then the number one selling artist out of Texas, and they're constantly putting out content, So I totally agree with him. And actually, I've done vlogs about this for my Promo Palace vlog about, fan base is everything in any kind of business. Fan base, consumer base, it's all the same. You never want to take a political stance with your consumers, because then you alienate half your consumers. I'll never take a political stance. I'm just going to be right in the middle, And I know a lot of people are like, well, he's Republican, he's conservative. No, I'm in the middle. I'm just not on the left. That's really what it is. I'm not on the right. I'm really in the middle, and I just would never be on the left. Not like I voted Democrat one time, but I was never really on the far left. And like I said, I got swindled for my vote. I was swindled out of my vote by Barack. Okay, this was episode 100. Actually, before I go, I'm going to talk about January 6th. This is January 6th. Talk about it. Episode. It's just kind of weird to me that my 100th episode would actually fall on January 6th. They're actually trying to make it like some anniversary for this, like it's some freaking holiday. The issue I have with January 6th is they're acting like it's any worse than any of the riots that occurred all throughout the U.S. In Portland and Seattle, where they actually burnt down buildings, and people were actually running around with guns, and cop cars were getting demolished and burned. Like, they wasn't burning down the Capitol. Yeah, there was people was like, well, our democracy was at stake. That's horseshit. Because if anything, they would have just rescheduled, like I guess they were trying to stop Biden from being the official, like, Biden becoming a president or whatnot. All they would have did was reschedule it. Democracy was not it was not in jeopardy of being ruined. There was anybody that says our democracy was in jeopardy of being destroyed, taken over, or whatever is lying through their teeth. That's complete horseshit. It was not. They would just reschedule it. And if you compare people just going into office, taking Instagram pictures, you think that's worse than people burning down businesses and cop cars and looting and robbing buildings and all the violent acts that took place during the protests across America, then you live off a double standard and you're a hypocrite. Because it wasn't worse. You got people out here acting like it was as bad as 9/11. Stop it. Stop it. Then I see the cop or the guy acting like the guy that been in Iraq talking about, oh, this is the day I thought I was going to die. Now we compared it to Iraq. Stop it. It's nowhere near as bad as Iraq. You know why? Because in Iraq they had guns and grenades and missiles and all types of weapons. They didn't have no guns. There was no guns. We're really going to sit here and feed this horse shit of a story and narrative that a bunch of people with no guns were going to take over our democracy. It's so hilarious and so funny. I'm gonna choke to death. That is so hilarious and so funny that anybody in their right mind would think a group of people, it's not even really big enough group of people with no guns, no real weapons, no rocket launchers, no guns, no nothing, man. No missiles, no aircraft carriers, no tanks. They got no. We're really gonna believe a group of people with no tanks was going to take over our democracy. Anybody who believes that is dumber than a bag of bricks, and they're not going to get any smarter. That is such a false narrative. That a bunch of people with no guns is going to take over our democracy. You know what would have literally happened? They would have just said that. I told y'all, they would have said 82nd Airborne and then shut it down. And they would have rescheduled. This shit is the narrative. Like, I ain't saying what happened wasn't bad. But what I'm saying is the narrative that our democracy was on the verge of being taken over by these people with no weapons whatsoever, no real weapons whatsoever, is horseshit. If that's the case, then any country on the planet could take us over right now. If you mean to tell me that you believe that a bunch of people with no tanks, no grenades, rocket launchers, guns, torpedoes, grenade launchers, whatever it is, no military weapons whatsoever was going to take over democracy, then anybody could take over this country. I could take this country over with a bunch of BB guns. If that's the case, I could take this country over with BB guns if you think people were going to take over our democracy with just their fists and their hands and their feet. If you're that dumb, you'll never be smart. You'll never have any common sense in your entire life. You got to be dumber than a bag of bricks to believe that narrative, that they were actually going to take over our democracy with no guns. Oh my gosh, it can't be, man. It can't be. I just wonder, do people really believe these things, or is it just part of the propaganda and to push the agenda? Because if they really believe these things, I'm sorry. People are dumber than a bag of bricks, and they can't be helped. There's nothing. If anybody believes that, you just can't do it. There's nothing you can do to help. There's nothing. There's no college professor that could put any common sense in their head. Once again, I want to thank y'all for tuning in. This is Paul Pickett Podcast, a.k.a. Triple P, your source for music, sports, politics, world events, and more. Don't forget the video version of this podcast goes to YouTube, Facebook, Instagram TV, Rumble, as well as the pre-recorded version will stream live on Twitter and Twitch. The audio version of this podcast goes to Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Deezer, TuneIn, Slacker, Stitcher, Player FM, Pocket Chaser, Podcast Addict, and much more. This podcast is sponsored by Promo Palace LLC at PromoPalace.biz. You need online marketing and promotion for your music, product, brand, or your service. Check out PromoPalace.biz. If you're a dog lover or cat lover, you like t-shirts or hoodies like I do, please check out New Litter Apparel at newlitter.com. That's NEWLITTER.com. We also got sneakers and we got sweatshirts as well for with dogs and cats on them. And we also got dog apparel like dog bandanas, and we got dog tags as well. Got to have dog tags for New Litter Apparel. Also for Shizzle, I got to shout out DizzleBrand.com. Dizzle brand, just add ice, Dizzle on ice, step into the future, do your Dizzle, DizzleBrand.com. As you see, I got my bottle here, I got 3 more on the way, which I'll be giving out two of them for taste test options, just to, people to taste test and see what they think about Dizzle. Don't forget, follow them on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, and more. They got a dozen recipes on there that you can mix your Dizzle with. Of course, it's ready to go like it is. Just throw it on ice, throw lemon on it. You're good to go. Dizzle. Once again, this is episode 100. I'm probably going to take a week off. Who knows? I might not. Things could change. I might be podcasting tomorrow, but we're going to get right up a press release. As soon as I get off this podcast, I'm going to get on Fiverr, get somebody to write me up a professional press release. And then I'm going to get on the company I use for my press releases, IssueWire, and I'm going to send out a press release. And I'm also going to run an ad campaign, probably the Google press release link for that on Google as well. Once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. Yours truly, Paul Pickett Podcast. I'm your host, Paul Pickett, a.k.a. Triple P, a.k.a. the Common Sense Podcast, your source for music, sports, politics, world events, and more. Peace, and I'm out.